Salve, Scaleri, et amici.
Salve.
The greatest person in my life, as I look back on my boyhood, by that I mean the person who left the greatest influence in my life, was a man named Dr. Robert S. Stansfield. And he lived to 103. I had a chance to drive to his house on Cape Cod when he was in his doddridge and visit him and his wife of 73 years at the time and say thank you to him. He was the greatest person in my life because when I was a little boy, I would go over to his house and he had a great library and he taught me to love books. And he had me literally reading Shakespeare, Chaucer, Milton Keats when I was in breeches. And for this, I am eternally grateful to him. Thomas Jefferson said that books constitute capital. A library book lasts as long as a house for hundreds of years. It is not then an article of mere consumption, but fairly of capital. And often, in the case of professional men setting out in life, it is their only capital. It is important. Books are important. We will do our best the entire time that you're in this school to assign books that you can actually keep for your whole life. Now, maybe next year, I think it would be a good idea if we all had Kindles. I think that would be cool. And we could have, we wouldn't have to have the heavy books. But even if you have a Kindle, I would encourage you to still not only buy the book, but buy the best hardbound edition of the book that you can. Build your library now. C.S. Lewis said, you can't get a cup of tea big enough or a book long enough to suit me. And you will find that these books, over time, as Ernest Hemingway said, there is no friend as loyal as a book. And they will become your friends.
Neither curse nor speak coarsely. Salve, Scaleri, et amici.
Salve.
Today I am giving a speech on the 18th standard of conduct and civility. Neither curse nor speak coarsely. The essence of this rule is to avoid using curse words or vulgar, rough language. This rule sounds very straightforward, but for some people, and I'm not saying anyone in particular around here, it can be a very hard one to follow. The definition of to curse is to utter offensive words in anger or annoyance. Cursing is taking your negative emotions and instead of saying directly, I'm angry, or trying to modulate or redirect your anger, you choose to express it with obnoxious and offensive words. Cursing makes a negative impression on those who hear it. When children hear curses, they can think that they have the right to say the words themselves, which is something I have to remind my mother of from time to time. Or the child may not know what the offensive words mean, but will repeat them anyway. The more adults curse, the more children have opportunities to hear them, and the more the children will be tempted to use the words. The cycle will continue to repeat itself. Cursing not only sets a bad example for children, but for your peers, your community, and the bigger society. By using coarse speech, you validate those words, and therefore encourage others to use them. The quality of acceptable language in society can be lowered overall if enough people think that cursing is not a big deal. If you do it, then you are validating it, and in a small way creating a coarser and more vulgar community. Now we arrive at the second part of this rule, nor speak coarsely. Coarseness in this context means rude, crude, or vulgar language, and can apply in many different situations. Coarse language can refer to yelling at someone if you think they've done something wrong. It can mean taunting or making fun of someone. Or it can mean using crass or unpleasant language to describe something or someone. Yelling at a person without just cause or taunting them can take a toll on people, not only at the time, but years later on. What one person calls harmless teasing can build up and weigh down on a person's spirit. After enough taunts, people can lose their own sense of morality and become more like the people who taunted them. Or they can become defeated and negative, believing the world to be a dark place. yelling and taunting create negative effects on those who target it. Lastly, the use of coarse words to describe things or people frequently sound uneducated and ignorant. These words are usually short and slang and have an unpleasant sound to them. If I say, "You idiot, that sucks, you stink at basketball," what I'm really saying, besides giving my opinion on your basketball skills, is that I'm unable to find proper or at least non-vulgar ways of stating my opinions, and that it is okay for me to show my ignorance and coarseness. The truth, in fact, is that I should be embarrassed to speak this way. I think that sounding crude or slangy or offensive is a reflection upon me. I don't always live up to this standard, but I think I should try. Before I conclude my speech, I would like to end with a few quotes. His mouth is full of cursing and deceit and fraud. Under his tongue is mischief and vanity. Psalms 10:7, the Bible. If men are wont to play with swearing anywhere, can we expect they should be serious and strict therein at the bar or in the church? Isaac Barrow, mathematician, 1630 to 1677. The foolish and wicked practice of profane cursing and swearing is a vice so mean and low that every person of sense and character detests and despises it. George Washington, our first president and founder of this school, 1732 to 1799. I hope that I have argued effectively for the importance of the rule neither curse nor speak coarsely. Ignoring this rule sets a bad example. It can be hurtful to others, and it gives the person ignoring it in a poor light. Using coarse or offensive language is unbecoming of a gentleman, a lady, and a Latinian. Thank you.
Salve Scalari Edamiki.
Salve.
Ms. Fife, you did argue effectively for those precepts. I want to thank you for your insightful and encouraging speech. Thank you. I want to welcome everyone back. I hope you had an enjoyable first and foremost. I was able to do this earlier, but I want to remind the 5th and 6th graders, pay special attention to the checks and balances chart that I gave you. You're going to be responsible for knowing all of those checks and balances, okay?